Hey everyone, it's me, Chris from Body Noble Fitness Coaching, and I'm here today to continue my series on progressive overload, where we're talking about volume and frequency. Now, the thing about volume and frequency is they can play off each other depending on your goals and what you're trying to accomplish. As a side note, a lot of you guys are thinking that these things are only meant for high-level athletes, and that couldn't be the furthest from the truth. Doesn't matter if you're a beginner or competing in the top of the world, these concepts apply to you, because when you want to change, when you want to make improvement, okay, these are some of the ways that I would use to help you get improvement. So as we go through this, we're gonna figure out, we're gonna let you know how these apply to you. What is the most important factor, the one that you can improve that will give you the most success? Like I said, it doesn't matter if you're just average everyday soccer mom or you're a high-level athlete. What is the most effective, what is the most of these ideas that can change, or that you can change, I'm gonna say, to help you make progress? Okay, the answer would be volume. And volume, it's what volume is how much work is being done. Usually if you're looking at a workout, if you're looking at with resistance training, it's sets versus reps, you know, but with HIIT, it's just straight how many reps you perform, you know. So it's so important that in studies, in order to figure out what an intervention or whatever you're trying to find out, to see if it's better than, they have to level out. They have to make sure that both programs are equal. So for example, and I'll tell you about this study, it's a study about frequency, okay, and two programs of frequency. So with these two programs, they have to make sure that the same amount of volume is being formed, and I'll explain that later. So with frequency, we're talking about how often, you know, how often that you have the intervention. So, and as I talk about this study, I'm also going to show you how researchers and people who like to jump on bandwagons and make stances where they really drop the ball, not only with this study, but their application of this study, okay, as I explain the relationship between volume and frequency. Okay, so in this study, you have a whole body workout versus, they call it a bro split. I find that very disrespectful, because the way that they're looking at it is nobody knew anything before a study, before people started studying exercise science, which is actually backwards. I'm not gonna say that intuition is everything, but the intuition usually kicks in, it gets really popular, and then people do a study on it, because people don't tend to read about studies on concepts they never heard of. Okay, so that's kind of the way the real world works as far as this is concerned. But anyway, to get back to the story, they took a group, they did their whole body 3 times a week. Now, again, with volume and frequency, they had to make the volume equal, all right? So across the two protocols. All right, so they did 3 or 4 sets 3 times a week. So I believe it came out to a total of 12 sets per that body part that they were studying. And they compared it to a 1 time a week bro split workout that had a total of 12 sets. Now, the group that hit the muscle more frequently made better progress in terms of strength. They might have built the muscle more, but mind you, this is beginner, so it's a different animal, okay? Here's the problem. In both sides, the volume had to be the same. Now, we're talking about progressive overload, and we're talking about somebody who's stuck in a rut or stuck in a hole. So I can very easily increase the volume, and everything they're talking about gets thrown out the window. And I'll show you the example. So one of the ways I would do this, especially with somebody who has workout experiences, is by increasing the frequency. With this being said, you're looking at, when you look at a bro split, most people, they work on a body part every 7 days. So whatever that volume is, I'm gonna use 12 for this example, because when I tie all this together, you're gonna see how mathematically this is gonna work out to an advantage or a way to overload your body. Okay, so let's just say in workout, we're concerned with body part one, a body part during workout one, okay? And in that body part during workout one, you hit 12 sets for that body part. So normally every 7 days, you would hit 12 sets for that body part if you did a split. Now, if you did full body, you may split that out over 3 days, 4 sets, or 4 days with 3 sets, so it's 12. Okay. Now, one of the things I like to look at when people are trying to improve, or when they're trying to improve maybe their muscle build, or maybe improve their fat loss or something like that, is the frequency. So let's just say if you go through day 1 Monday, day 2 Tuesday, take off Wednesday, day 3 on Thursday, day 4 on Friday, and you take off the weekend, and back Monday you're starting at 1, okay? So if you did that, following workout 1, you will have 48 sets per month, okay? Now, if I change that frequency, so if I make it to a 5 or a 6 day cycle, that means if I start with workout 1 on Monday, it's gonna repeat on Saturday, and the cycle just keeps going and going instead of being on a 7-day cycle. Now, over the course of 4 weeks, I had to change it to 4 weeks because this is the only way I can get the volume equal, or sorry, the amount of times hitting the workouts equal for the whole body and the body part split, okay? Now, if I speed up that cycle, all right, within 4 weeks, I would have hit a total of 60 sets, okay? 60 sets for the body part in workout 1. Of course, for every body part, no matter what you do. Now, in order to catch that, to get to that 60, I would need to work over a longer period of time and need some extra days within the 4 weeks to do that, okay? So I've made it so you can get greater results, because remember, in the studies, it didn't matter if you were training for strength, it didn't matter if you were training for fat loss, it didn't matter if you were trying to build muscle. The most important factor was how much volume you could perform and recover from, okay? So you have to keep that in mind. And again, like for example, if you were weight loss and you were stuck in a plateau, one of the things we look at is how can we make you do more work? How can we get you to do more work, okay? So again, that applies to everybody across the board. One of the ways that I can help people, like with a lot of women, they want to improve their glutes. Guys may want to improve their shoulders or arms and stuff like that. So they might not be able to go through a full arm workout, or that might mess up their rotation. But again, if you're using frequency, I can give them, like I would give the ladies a little bit of extra glute work every day, like maybe 3 times per week. So maybe they have the normal leg workout, and then I'll add a session or 2. And the research shows that you can do this up 3 to 5 times per week. And it could be just as little as doing one exercise for 3 or 4 sets. So, but that also increases the amount of volume on the body part, like I said. So that's something that you want to think about as you're trying to find a way to push past those plateaus, or find a way to progressively overload. You might not need to do more reps, which also increases the volume, all right? You might not need to do more sets in that workout. You can just spread that out over the course of a week. And as time passes, you will have more volume, which forces your body to make the changes that you want. So the rep ranges are important, but the volume at that rep range is going to play a major role.